Hey everybody, this is Mary Grothy, and you're tuning in to my podcast, Destination Remarkable, the show where I chat about my journey through life from childhood to founding 3 companies to my venture launching 2 books with Forbes. Every week, I'll dive in and unveil the highs, the lows, and even the nitty-gritty details of my journey. It's raw, it's real. Let's get started. Hey, Destination Remarkable. I get to talk to you today about leftovers. And I'm not talking about the kind in your refrigerator, although those are good. My husband and I attended a sermon, 2017. Oh, no, that's way too late. I don't even think we were married yet. 2013, 2014, we were going to church together and heard a sermon about leftovers and talking about how especially in a marriage, that it's very unfair to your spouse when you show up at the end of the day and you don't have anything left in the tank, that you were high performing at work, but then you worked yourself to a point of exhaustion. So now you come home for the day and you want to be a couch potato, scroll on your social media, and pretty much ignore everything all around you and your surroundings. Well, this isn't a very loving way to go about your marriage, and it's also not very healthy. It's just not good. But the same can be said in reverse about how you are in your career and in your work, because you could be so invested into your family, and it could be for personal reasons. It could be a season. It could just be that you love your family and your children so much. That's great. But you are always at their beck and call. You're late to work, or you have a short, reduced work schedule because you're trying to take kids to school and be at all of their events. So you're clocking in and out a lot to be present at home. And now your work is suffering because you're so over present in your home life. And sometimes it's outside of our control. You could have a loved one who isn't doing well, so you're a sole caregiver. But the point of this is you can't be all things to all people. You only have so much energy throughout the day. So how do you manage it so that no one's getting your leftovers? And this is something that really rang true for me. Ever since that day, and I'm not perfect. There are some times my husband comes home and I am sitting on the couch and I am exhausted, but I still smile at him, very sweet. But for the first few years of our marriage, I made it a point that anytime he came in the door, I was up from the couch and giving him a hug and embracing him, no electronics in my hand, and just asking him how his day was. I will tell you that even though there are some days I'm pretty exhausted when he comes home and I am laying on the couch, which I wouldn't love to do, my husband, every single day since that sermon, when I have come in the house, no matter what he is doing, he has gotten up off of the couch or chair and he has greeted me the second I walk in through the door from the garage. This is just one thing about my husband that's unbelievable. Even when I have an event at night and I don't even come in till 9:00 at night, he could be on the couch. He could be doing anything. He could be on his computer and he will stop what he is doing and he stands up and he comes over and he greets me. Just that act alone, it says so much to me and it's so unbelievable. So we really both loved that sermon and walked away like, man, we can show up for people and be present in our lives and to ensure that no one's getting leftovers. So he's definitely better at this exercise than I am. He's better at a lot of things than I am. On that note, I think about how do I avoid giving people my leftovers? Well, the answer is I have to understand my energy first. And people have different flow states, like when you're in flow and you can tackle really big, or heavy administrative tasks or things that take a lot of brain power. Like for me, that's early in the morning. For others, they get that flow state later in the night. Like some people get it from 8 to 10 p.m. or even like 10 p.m. to midnight. I'm not one of those, by the way. I'm always sleeping during that time. But for me, it was an acknowledgement of what do I need to do on any given day? Now, as a wife, mom, and a CEO, guess what? Not every day is predictable. I get to travel. I get to do speaking engagements. I do a lot of things. So my weeks don't look the same. With that, I consciously tee up my day the night before. I also find so much peace in an exercise called calendaring. I love calendaring. I will calendar for about a quarter at a time. And then I will break that into a month at a time is very detailed out. And then at a week at a time is when I'm getting granular of expectations of what I'm doing within every single hour of every single day. And then the night before a day, I have an intimate moment with my calendar and I visualize and I put myself in every single one of the tasks that I'm committing to that is scheduled on the calendar that day. And I'm ensuring that that is a lineup that I can commit to and I will be successful with. And I make a decision at that point. If there is something on there that isn't pressing, urgent, absolutely has to have me, and it will cause a negative impact or effect on my energy or time for other tasks that are more important, I will make the decision to reschedule it or to delegate it and have someone else take it on. This practice has allowed me to show up very whole in all areas of my life, and it's not perfect. There are days I experience extreme exhaustion balancing all of this. But for the most part, I would say I'm at least 85 to 90% on my ability to manage my energy. I've also come to the terms with understanding how I'm received. So when my energy levels are depleted, I have a decision to make. How I show up in front of a team member, how I show up in front of my son, how I show up in front of a client, how I show up in front of my husband, how I am and how I am in that moment and what I'm bringing forth creates an experience for the other person. And the experience that's created for the other person has an effect. It can shape their mood. It shapes their well-being. It shapes how they will go and emotionally react to what you did, positive, negative, neutral, and then they extend that into the rest of their day. So I realize and take extreme ownership of the fact that I'm a very influential person, whether I want to admit that or not. I'm a CEO. I have the title, but I'm also a wife and I'm a mom to a beautiful little boy who has the most unbelievable heart. And as his mom, it is my responsibility to show up for him. Very unlike how my parents showed up for me, but that's okay because I learned. So now I have this opportunity and I realize even in those moments when that willpower feels low and what I really want to do is veg out or scroll on social media or just go hide in a room for 5 minutes. Sometimes I just have to say, I need to do that because I need a minute, and that's okay. But it's learning how to communicate that, but it's also being stronger in the moment to acknowledge how I am right now is not creating the right experience for the person or people who are receiving me, and that's on me. That is not their fault. And having that frame of reference and understanding that when people get my leftovers, that's my problem. It's me not managing my calendar. It's me not managing my task load. It's me not managing my energy. It's me not managing how I'm showing up. So come to find out, when I consciously acknowledge that I want to eliminate leftovers in my life, everybody wins. So what are those hacks again? Calendaring. Calendar at a macro level by quarter. Then break it down by month so you have a really good snapshot. Have one life calendar. Like I don't have separate calendars. I have my life calendar. Everything for my son, everything for my family and my husband, everything for my friends, everything for work. It's all in one. And just because it's on the calendar doesn't mean it can't move. And so when I get to a week at a time, I look at what's upcoming for the week. And then I consciously make decisions on when I will allow things to be scheduled in my blocks of time. It's learning how to say no. And then it's taking that daily gut check. Is what I have scheduled today, scheduled meetings and tasks and to-dos, personally and professionally, is this the lineup? Or does a change need to be made? And it's having that amount of awareness over your calendar and your to-dos is when you can get in control and realize, hey, no one's getting leftovers today. And when that happens, life can be very fulfilling. And I promise you, this is the path to feeling like you have it all. Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're interested in connecting with me, you can find me, Mary Grothe, spelled Grothe, on LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, or Instagram.